and welcome to the Perham Show. Today we are at Northwoods Assembly in Perham, and I am joined by Janine and Pastor Dirk. We are here to talk about an event that is coming to Perham for the first time. It's called Trafficked, and Janine, I'm going to have you start. We'll get into kind of talking about event details here, but kind of talk about how you're involved with this.
Sure. In 2011, in the state of Minnesota, they have passed Safe Harbor. And with that is anybody who is involved in any type of trafficking situation, there's a hedge of protection that goes around the victims. In August 1st of 2014, here in the state of Minnesota, Safe Harbor, No Wrong Door was passed. With Safe Harbor, No Wrong Door, youth under the age of 18 would not be prosecuted or charged, with any type of sexual exploitation regarding, even if there was an investigation going on, with that situation. So what I am is a regional youth advocate for sexually exploited youth and for Someplace Safe, and I serve youth in 9 counties here, where Someplace Safe has services.
Great, great. There's an event coming to Perham here on Wednesday, September 9th. It's going to be at 7 o'clock at the high school auditorium. Tell us a little bit about this event.
Trafficked, a community conversation, is hosted by WDAY TV news reporter Kevin Waldovan with the Fargo Forum News Service. He had done a trafficking series called Trafficked, last fall for 3 to 4 months, with different segments. Throughout the process, when he had started this, after about a month into it, he had captured, and stuff that these people were really not choosing to be in this profession, that they were actually trapped. And then he began to see them as victims versus, just choosing to this type of lifestyle. And that there was all these things that needed to take place in order for them to get out, on stuff of what they had been involved with. Even if they were adults, many of the ones that he had talked to had started this when they were teenagers. And so they had been doing it for years, working under what, you call the pimp. And that to be trafficked, you have to have that third party, and that's where the pimp would come into play. But for them to even be able to get out of that is very difficult because they would be threatened. Many times, they're held basically hostage, with no place to go. So what we do, with the Safe Harbor law is we're trying to gather more resources, and stuff to provide another avenue for these women or men or young boys to get out of this situation, because what we have to be doing is providing more equal what they have been provided for while they were doing this type of work.
Sure. Pastor Dirk, let's talk with you a little bit just about how you have been involved with this.
As a church and as a pastor, probably for almost 7 years now, we've been involved with really on all 3 levels of human trafficking. First and foremost, which is education, bringing an awareness to the community that human trafficking exists, the trafficking of women, the trafficking of children, and even in our state, just how our state of Minnesota is number 13th, ranked 13th by the FBI as far as children that are being trafficked out of our state. It's just that Midwestern, blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl that is on demand. And so our state is ranked number 13. So every year we do a trafficking conference here highlighting a different speaker. Maybe it's we've had women that have come out of the porn industry who were trafficked, different speakers on different levels. And then beyond that is the aftercare. When women or children come out of this, what do you do there? So as a church on a global level, more to speak about is we're involved in Thailand with a home called the Thrive Rescue Home, where they take in the kids and they take them in as a home, not as an orphanage, but as a home, and they care for them and they get their education and schooling. And then the third level, which really kind of completes the whole thing, is actual search and rescue. And I just recently, last year, got involved with a group called The Exodus Road, and working with them kind of in an undercover investigative situation. We're going in,
Sure.
looking for kids, going on leads into brothels and red light districts, trying to find kids and working with the local police, trying to rescue the children as well as bring justice to the traffickers.
Wow, that's great. With this event, let's talk a little bit about what people can expect to maybe learn at this event by coming.
Well, I think on a local level, because of the activity in the Balkans, what you have is money, what you have is men, and that is a prime recipe for human trafficking. Hence, the Super Bowl weekend is the biggest weekend for human trafficking in our country, because you have men, you have money, you have all this stuff going on. So, Highway 10, Highway 90, or Interstate 94 in Minnesota is it's kind of referred to as a corridor to hell, because there's a lot of trafficking victims that go back and forth on that highway to places where they're on demand. And so this event is going to show a video kind of highlighting what was done recently with the news out there, highlighting the trafficking situation, and bring about an opportunity to talk about some of the issues, also to bring an awareness to parents on things that they can be aware of in their own home, how to protect their children via the internet, because most trafficking in our country nowadays is done via internet. There's very few what we would call red light districts in our country where you just go up and you find them like you do in other countries and you just take your pick. In our country, it's primarily done through different websites such as Backpage, such as Craigslist, things like that. So these things will be talked about and just given awareness to parents and things that they need to be aware of, and maybe probably some safety guidelines that they can set up in their home to help protect their kids.
Sure, great. There will also be a panel there if people have questions, correct?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. And then this event is free. You do not need to register. You can just show up that evening. And again, it's Wednesday, September 9th at 7 o'clock at the Perham High School Auditorium. Is there anything else that you guys would like to add?
I would just like to add that, versus calling them trafficked, we have been choosing the word sexually exploited, because that's really what they are. And, me working with those that are under the age of 18, this starts off with the social media, and I think it's going to bring more community awareness about really, no matter how well you educate your children, and stuff, that someone is always going to try to make contact with them, so it's making that right decision at that right time. Like Pastor Dirk said, the social media aspect, almost all the youth that I have been working with all started with a text, with a Facebook message, with a group conversation, so then they had taken it to the next level where that grooming process has begun. So this is an excellent opportunity, not only to find out what has been happening since, Kevin Waldevin has been doing this traffic series, but what can we do as communities today to help educate our youth so that they do not become that traffic victim?
Sure.
The Minnesota Department of Health has, not only in Minnesota but also in the U.S., has stated that this is actually a public health issue, and stuff that's happening around there. With Amnesty International, now just last week, saying that and authorizing that prostitution is a profession, really is going to open doors to many more things that we realize probably we don't think it's happening in rural Minnesota, but it is happening everywhere. But it's another hurdle, and stuff that we would have to battle, and stuff that's out there. You take away the demand, which Pastor Dirk had mentioned, men, we say men because they're the primary people who are purchasing, and not only that, it's the Caucasian men. They say it's about 60% of, those who purchase, sex, out there are Caucasian men. But if we help educate men, for that supply demand, that's going to help the supply decrease, if we would just take that stand. Trafficked and sexual exploitation is the top two, for the income industry. Drugs, they say, is number one worldwide, and then sex trafficking is now rated as number two, and it's just increasing, and stuff every year. So with the panel discussion at the end, there's people that will be up there that are in the professionals, law enforcement, human services, counselors, the principal at the high school, and to help answer any other type of questions and stuff that may arise that people may have concerning the situation.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, great. If anyone has any questions, should they call you, Janine, or call you, Pastor Dirk, or open to call either of you?
You can call the Perham High School.
Okay.
If you have questions about what time and where the location of it is at, it's all on the flyers.
Okay.
It's in their new auditorium out there, and the Perham High School number is 218-346-6500. Or if you have other questions too, that's related to anything, or maybe you're suspicious about something or concerned about somebody, you can give me a call at 218-770-4256.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. If you would like to be featured on our show, please give me a call at 218-209-0453.